presentation that we did earlier. I'll be followed by Chief Lanier, who will be followed by FBI Washington Director, and then Chief Chambers and Congresswoman Norton. We don't have a great deal of new information to present to you at this point. I think we mentioned earlier that we had ruled out one of the suspects as being no longer a suspect. We've continued to pursue the possibility of there being another shooter. We don't have any evidence, any indication at this stage that there was yet another shooter, even though we haven't completely ruled that out. That was the person, as you probably will recall, who was identified as wearing an olive drab uniform, somebody portrayed as being around 50 years of age, around 5'10", with graying sideburns. We've not identified that person, nor do we have a lot of corroborating evidence, and maybe Valerie will talk a little bit about that too when she comes up. We don't know what the motive is at this stage. We were asked earlier if there was likely terrorism involved. We have no indication of that. We haven't ruled it out. We continue to investigate that. We know that there are 13 fatalities, including the shooter who perished today. We do have more information now on the decedents. Their ages are 46 years of age to 73 years of age. The families now are still in the process of being notified. 7 families have been notified, and the process continues to notify the other 6. We don't know exactly when that process will be completed, but it is continuing now as we speak. I also want to update the issue around injuries. We didn't have precise numbers earlier. We were using estimates. We now know that there are 8 people who incurred one or another kind of injury. Of the 8, 3 were shot. They all are, and that includes Officer Scott Williams, who Chief Lanier and I just went to visit earlier this evening, who is doing well, is in great spirits. There were 2 other civilians who were shot, and they are relatively minor injuries. The other 5 injuries range anywhere from, stress reaction to someone who fell and had a head injury, a contusion to the chest, arm abrasions, and chest pain. So again, a total of 8 injuries, people who were hospitalized as a result of those, and there's absolutely no reason to think that they won't be fine. One other point before I turn it over to Chief Lanier. We anticipate tomorrow morning that the traffic patterns will be back to normal in the city. All the bridges will be open. All of the streets in the area of the Navy Yard will be open, even as the investigation, of course, will be continuing tomorrow and the days ahead. Again, we've been in close contact with the White House. They've been in close contact with us, and the President has reached out, his staff and the President through them reached out to connect with us as this process is unfolded throughout the day. So again, this is a horrific tragedy. I want to thank all the first responders who have done such an extraordinary job dealing with this horrific tragedy. Our, of course, police officers and the various law enforcement agencies that have done a sterling job. And I want to especially thank Fire and Emergency Medical Services for the work that they've done today as well. They had obviously many transports that they had to make, and they did an extraordinary job doing that. And Chief Ellaby, where are you, Chief? I want to thank you for the work that you did today in order to be able to handle that important responsibility. So with that having been said, let me ask Chief Lanier to come up and share some things with you, Chief.
I'll pick up where the mayor left off. I can't say enough about the first responders, all of the training and exercising and the daily interaction we have here with more than 30 law enforcement agencies of some type in the district. the teamwork as we hear story after story, and having been on the scene and listening to transmissions throughout the course of the day, 24 years doing this in the city, very proud of the teamwork. The ability to quickly pull together disparate teams of law enforcement, the heroic efforts, United States Park Police working with Metropolitan Police Department, quickly entering the building along with security from the Navy Yard, as well as support from our partners, quickly brought in through mutual aid, Maryland State, Park Police helicopters, as well as Fairfax, to see 3 different jurisdictions all on scene less than 45 minutes to coordinate emergency response, whether it be fire, emergency medical, support from, I know at least Prince George's County brought in through DC Fire EMS, to medevac support brought in through United States Park Police and their medevac. Just incredible work. United States Marshal Service entering the buildings with teams of MPD. Also NCIS, who assisted in picking up and carrying an injured police officer out of the building, story after story. We've heard from police officers and firefighters and emergency medical, just terrific response. And so thank you for all of the local and partners, or regional partners who responded. I will say Metro Transit as well, the special recognition, they really stepped up today to help us get large numbers of victims and survivors to various places that we needed to transport witnesses. Never had to ask for any support. They always there to provide what we needed. So we really appreciate the work of Metro Transit. As of right now, with the last outstanding lookout that we had for the potential last person connected to the deceased shooter, and that was the lookout we put out for a black male between the ages of 40 and 50 in an olive drab uniform. Obviously, we had multiple witness accounts that we were sorting through. We have now exhausted all means that we have available to either support or discount that lookout, and we are comfortable at this point to lift the shelter in place to the residents in the neighborhood. Thank them, first of all, residents and businesses, for supporting us and sheltering in place for an extended period of time, but we feel comfortable right now that we've exhausted all means to eliminate that possible last suspect. So we do now feel comfortable that we have the single and sole person responsible for the loss of life inside of the base today. If anything changes as we continue to go forward, we certainly will make that available to the public, but again, we are lifting the shelter in place, and we appreciate the support from our community members. We will most likely have all traffic closures around the area open by 5 a.m. for morning commute, but we will make sure that is put out for the public in advance, so please listen to your local news media before you come in for work in the morning. And as of right now, we have, as we go through finalizing next of kin notifications, we have identified 1 D.C. resident so far that are among the victims. So in terms of our outreach in our local community, our hearts go out to all of the victims, certainly, and at least one of our victims now we have confirmed as a D.C. resident. At this point, we don't have anything to support that any of the victims so far identified are active duty military. We have civilian and contractors so far that have been identified. We still have some work to do, but no active duty military have been identified amongst the victims at this point. So with that, I will turn it over to the Assistant Director of the FBI, Val Parlanick, and let her update you on their investigation.
Good evening. As we've stated, this continues to be a very active investigation. The FBI's evidence response teams continue to process the shooting scenes. These teams have special capabilities to include bullet trajectory analysis and crime scene mapping. We also continue to follow every lead related to the shootings to include piecing together the movement and activities of Aaron Alexis. While we have learned some information about his recent whereabouts, we continue to work to determine where he has been, who he has talked to, and what he has done. This includes determining the origins of the weapons he used, but because this investigation still continues, we will not comment further on the weapons used in today's shooting. We can confirm, however, that Mr. Alexis had legitimate access to the Navy Yard as a result of his work as a contractor, and he utilized a valid pass to gain entry to the Navy Yard. We continue to work to identify and locate additional witnesses to today's events and any individuals who may have information about Mr. Alexis. We appreciate the information provided so far by the public, and we continue to ask for any and all information related to Mr. Alexis and today's tragic events. Please report this information by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 1-800-225-5324. And we again thank the public for your cooperation, and we'll continue to update you on this investigation as it progresses. Thank you.
And simply from the United States Park Police, you heard Chief Lanier talk about team. We were a part of that team this morning. We now have a more subordinate role, but we commit to her and to Assistant Director Parlade and the Mayor that we will provide whatever resources available and appropriate to help complete this investigation. Thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for bringing us to this last report to the city and to the region. As in the beginning, our first thoughts tonight are with the victims and their families, and they will also be our first thoughts tomorrow when Congress reconvenes and I go on the floor to lead moments of silence. But we're not going to be silent about the tragedy that occurred here today. There are many outstanding questions. I would say most of the questions are outstanding. For many of us in the city who have been plagued by gun violence, among them is how someone, whatever his badge, managed to get a high-powered gun into one of the most secure facilities in the District of Columbia. I'm sure the Navy will be doing its own investigation. Tomorrow I will be working with others to get an independent investigation of what occurred here. I'm very, very proud and very grateful for the federal and the D.C. police who responded so promptly. They have made the District of Columbia since 9/11 the most protected and the most secure city in the United States. But we do not fool ourselves. We understand that in an open and democratic and free society, you cannot make yourself impenetrable, especially when there are more guns than there are people in the United States today. We take it very seriously when security at one of our most secure facilities is penetrated and where the security is breached. But we also regard the Naval Sea System Command as a neighbor, a part of this residential mixed-use neighborhood, and we like it that way. I continue to appreciate the banquet room they built so they could accommodate residents. And I'll be working with the Navy and the Naval Sea System Command to maintain the relationship with the neighborhood while shoring up the security here in the neighborhood and at the facility. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take a few questions.
Question for the special agent in charge. Can you just characterize the progress made by the response team inside the building, how far they've gone on what the results is?
There's still quite a bit of work left to do inside processing the scene. I would expect them to be there for the next couple of days finishing up. It took us a while to clear the building with our tactical teams, and they haven't actually been in there that long processing the evidence on scene. So I would say, 48 hours would be unreasonable.
Are there a lot of people still left in there?
I believe most of the people who were alive have been cleared from the Navy Yard.
All civilians and contractors apparently were among the casualties. Do you have any belief that the shooter was intentionally avoiding shooting military personnel?
We have no information right now as to motive.
The Congresswoman was talking about bringing a high-security weapon into the building, into the media. Is there any sense that the suspect was able to lift any weapons off his victim?
That's part of the ongoing investigation, and I can't comment on that.
There have been reports that a rental car was found near the scene that belonged to gunmen. Can you confirm?
We are processing a vehicle at the scene related to the shooting.
There have been reports of other officers serving in Navy guards on base or U.S. police officers in
We do have one, our police officer with injuries, not a gunshot injury, but other related injuries to the incident. I believe we do have at least one contract security working with the Naval District of Washington. We will confirm that as we go forward, but I believe we do have at least one.
Can you just tell us a little bit about that, about how it's going?
He's in very good spirits. His family is here. Parents, brothers and sisters. He's been on the department 24 years. In fact, came on right about the time I did. So we've worked together for many, many years. He is a K-9 officer. He's in very good spirits. He's got a pretty serious injury. But right now his family's here with him, and he's in good spirits. The mayor was up visiting with him as well, and he was certainly very complimentary of the partner agencies who helped to get him out of the building, and DC Fire EMS who helped get him medical attention that he needed. So he's just very grateful for all the other responders there that helped get him out of that building and get him, to the medical attention he needed. But great police officer. I've known him for most of the 23 years, and he's got a stellar record.
Why did you think there was a second shooter? And now why is that not?
Well, obviously there will be more information that we can put out as time goes on, but we always err on the side of caution through conglomeration of witness-victim interviews, some camera views. There was potential that there could have been other shooters involved, and we believe that the best action for us to take was to make sure our community was safe first, and we weeded through that information secondly. We certainly want to clear the community as quickly as possible, but we'd rather err on the side of caution. So we did that, and we have spent the last several hours trying to go through everything possible to make sure that we were 100% comfortable that we had cleared all that information and get it out as quickly as possible. So again, sometimes we ask for a little bit of patience from our community, but our goal is to make sure everybody's safe and that there's no additional harm. And that's our goal, no additional harm once we arrive on the scene.
Last question. Last question.
No, there'll be a press release that is put out following this event. I believe that is already completed. So those victims that have been identified, confirmed, and next of kin have been notified, will release that following this press briefing. I believe it's here with us, so we can hand that out. And then as additional next of kin are notified, we'll put out the remainder.
Thank you all very much.
That, of course, concludes the press conference. Back to Fox News correspondent Jennifer Griffith. Jennifer, the thing that just sort of seizes my attention, and it's reminded, just how real it is, when you hear that 7 families have already been notified tonight. They're looking to notify the other 5, and just think these families at home waiting, wondering. To me, that's the most painful part of all.
And look at the ages. They were between age 43 and 73, I think she said.
These were people, they were eating in the cafeteria when the gunman opened fire from the 4th floor down into this atrium where they were eating. And what also was very interesting, Greta, is that he got onto the base. People have been asking all day, how did he get onto this secure base here in Washington, D.C.? He had a legitimate ID, and